Okay, a little update. I'm on page 264 and I'm like in the middle of a paragraph because in the middle of a chapter because I've been reading it any chance I could get. I'm like so invested in this book. Everything is just like building right now, but I know like things are about to hit the fan. So I'm so excited to like see where that goes, and I've really been interested in the whole Nesta situation. Like I just kind of like don't really get what's going on, and I don't know. I'm also listening to an audiobook while I drive because I just can't not get into this book and not read it. So I've been trying to like really focus when I'm driving on the audiobook. And there was like a part that I feel like I should have read that was really important. Basically them with the carver. I didn't understand anything that was happening at all. I like went back a couple times to like try to understand, and I still was like kind of confused on like the importance of what he was saying. Like I just didn't get it. So there are some like downsides to the audiobook, and I know last time I said I like can't listen to audiobook if I know a book is gonna be good, but I just, when a book is too good, you can't help but not want to be in it all the time. So I think I'm going to try to finish this chapter. I do have to wake up at the crack of dawn tomorrow, and it's already like 11 o'clock, and I definitely have to go to bed, and I'm so tired, but this book keeps me up. It keeps me up. So yeah, I have really been loving it. I'm loving the character building. I feel like this book is definitely like character led. Like, we already know all the places, we kind of know how they all look, besides one of the courts that they had, like, wandered into. But for the most part, like, we kind of know all these things. There's just, like, now a whole lot of side characters, and it's a little hard keeping up sometimes when they're throwing names at me, and I'm like, wait a second, I've heard that name, but, like, how does that connect in the other books? Which I also love about series is that you can just, like, throw all these names and then trickle them into the storyline, like, 3 books later. I really... that's why I love series. Like, you just get so invested. So it's why I love TV shows over movies. Like, you could just connect to the characters so much more than if it's just one single book. So I really love that, and I love all the side characters getting thrown in and knowing about them and understanding them and actually learning the history about why these people are the way they are and like why we witness them the way that they got presented to us. So I like that we're backtracking a little and learning a bit more, but there's also like so much ahead that's just, I need answers. I need answers now. Going on right now in this book, and I had to put something a little bit happier. wanted to give you a little update. I feel like I haven't been talking as much as I usually do in these reading vlogs, and I've just been actually reading, and a lot of the reading I'm doing it now in the sanctuary of my own home. So I'm like at the beach, I'm like out by the pool, I'm reading it. Like today I read like 100 pages in the car, so not particularly places I like go out and I'm just gonna start recording and like talking about it. So I've been keeping a little notes app on all of my thoughts, like quotes I want to read you guys and like things I want to discuss and just kind of my thoughts and emotions on everything. I'm currently on page 612, and that puts me at 87% of the way through, literally so close to the end. I have less than 100 pages to go, and I feel like with these types of books there's so much happening, and I feel like closer to the end of all of her books I just tend to like mass read it. Is that a word I could use? Mass read, definition being like I'm reading it so fast, like I just have to read it all in one sitting. So I feel like I tend to do that with all of her books. When I hit like the last like 150 to 100 pages, I'm just sitting, I'm locked in, I'm reading, and that's exactly what I'm about to go do. There's war. My heart has been thumping the entire time I've been reading these last couple of chapters. It's just like fear. Are they going to be alive? What is going to happen? I need everyone to be safe. The people I love need to stay here. If anything happens, I will cry, and I have a feeling something might. So that to say, I am scared and I have to go read. But that is what we are gonna do. I'm so close. I'm on page 638. I am like on the edge of my seat right now. There is no way this is happening right now. This better be a freaking joke. Oh, I might stop. Oh my gosh. That was roller coaster. A Court of Wings and Ruin. Oh my goodness, I finished this last night, as you guys saw, and I have so many thoughts. This was a pretty big book, and I kind of feel like once you're already in a series, the third and fourth book are really what make or break how invested you are in the series. There's a lot of build up, and I understand the importance and why, because I think it made the ending like goosebumps at the end. Like, just I was there, I was locked in, I was very engaged, but that 400 pages of just dialogue and understanding history and people fighting, but not actually physically fighting, it was just verbal fighting and meetings and stuff like that. Just, I don't know. I definitely got a little bit bored, I would say. It was a lot of like, you really had to sit there and think and build and create a story in your brain, and less of like, I'm just chilling and enjoying this, which I feel like I got from the second one because I already knew the world, so I was more comfortable. And then this one, they kind of threw in a whole wrench in there that just like, I was like, what? I was not prepared for that. I didn't update a lot in this one. I feel like that is probably the reason why, because I didn't have much to say because I was just kind of confused and just trying to like read. This is kind of not related to the plot, but I really loved these like little moments that happen between Feyre and like a specific someone, and how their relationship was so fruitful and human, and also kind of like things you could take away and bring into your own relationships. So I had two quotes to mention. It says here, "The male who had always presented me with the choice
not as a gift, but as my God's given right. And even though that's so small, I feel like sometimes we try to put that on our pros list for our significant others, or like people we're interested in, as like, oh, but look how like nice they are and like letting me make my decisions. Like, no babe, that is a right, that is free will, and that is important that the person you're with helps like boost you up in that way. This is probably my favorite part of the book. If you were doing something else, stop what you're doing, come sit in front of the TV, phone, whatever it may be, and listen, because I think this is so critically important. And I got chills reading this part of the book, and I remember telling my boyfriend about this part, and like just telling anyone who would listen about this part, because honestly my favorite part, and it is the nephelle prophecy. So this is not a spoiler, this doesn't reveal anything, this is just something thrown in there that has stuck with me since I've read it, and I can't stop thinking about it, and I knew I had to share this with you guys. So basically there's this girl named Nephelle, and she is part of this older line, so she's obviously alive because they don't die, but she's like from the first war, all this stuff. And Azriel is telling this story to Feyre. She's like having a hard time with something, and she just like feels like giving up and not doing anything. And so he starts to tell her this story, and I'm gonna have to read it to you. It's a little bit long, but I promise you it is worth it. So let's lock in. We're gonna do a little reading class. These two people, Miriam and Draken, and they're trying to flee and run away. This is like 500 years ago, and they're trying to get across the water to safety with all of their people. So they basically run into the person that is trying to kill them, and so this fight goes out on the water. And it says here, during the melee, they didn't see Miriam skewered by the queen herself. Draken didn't see. He thought she made it out, carried by one of his soldiers. He ordered the parted sea to come down to drown the enemy force. Oh, I feel like that's also important to note, that they split the sea open, like the splitting of the Red Sea, they split the sea open, and they wanted everyone to like fly through there to make it out alive, and then they were gonna close the sea back up. So Draken, which is Miriam's lover, is starting to close the sea because he was like, everyone has made it out, even like my wife, like she's made it out, like we're gonna close this to get to safety, and like all the bad people trying to get us are gonna die. So he doesn't see her go down and is literally punctured close to the bottom of the sea. So if he closes the sea, like she's a goner. I hope I create the picture for you to be able to tell you this, but it goes, but a young Sephirium cartographer named Nephelle saw Miriam go down. Nephelle's lover was one of Draken's generals, and it was she who realized Miriam and Nephelle were missing. Draken was frantic, but their magic was spent, and no force in the world could hold back the sea as it barreled down, and no one could reach his mate in time, but Nephelle did. Nephelle, you see, was a cartographer because she'd been rejected from the Legion's fighting ranks. Her wings were too small, the right one somewhat malformed, and she was slight, short enough that she'd be a dangerous gap in the front lines when they fought shield to shield. Draken had let her try out for the Legion as a courtesy to her lover, but Nephelle failed. She could barely carry the seraphim shield, and her smaller wings hadn't been strong enough to keep up with the others. So she made herself invaluable as a cartographer. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say that word. Cartographer, is that right? I hope so, because I'm not going to reread this again. Helping Draken and her lover find the geographical advantages in their battles, and she became Miriam's dearest friend during those long months as well. And that day, on the sea floor, Nephelle remembered that her friend had been in the back of the line. She returned for her, even as all others fled for the distant shore. She found Miriam skewered on the queen's spear, bleeding out. The sea wall started to come down on the opposite shore, killing the approaching army first, racing toward them. Miriam told Nephelle to save herself, but Nephelle would not abandon her friend. She picked her up and flew. Azriel's voice was soft with awe. When Rhys spoke to Draken about it years later, he still didn't have words to describe what happened. It defied all logic, all training. Nephelle, who had never been strong enough to hold a Sephirium shield, carried Miriam triple the weight. And more than that, she flew. The sea was crashing down upon them, but nephelle flew like the best of Cyprian warriors. The sea floor was a labyrinth of jagged rocks too narrow for the Cyprian to fly through. They tried during their escape and crashed into them. But nephelle, with her smaller wings, had they not been 1 inch wider, she would not have fit. And more than that, nephelle soared through them, Miriam dying in her arms, as fast and skilled as the greatest of Cyprian. Nephelle, who had been passed over, who had been forgotten, she outraced death itself. There was not a foot of room between her and the water on either side of her when she shot up from the seafloor, not half of that rising up at her feet, and yet her too small wingspan, that deformed wing, they did not fail her, not once, not for 1 wing beat. My eyes burned. She made it. Suffice to say, her lover made nephelle her wife that night, and Miriam, well, she is alive today because of nephelle. Azriel picked up a flat white stone and turned it over in his hands. Rhys told me that story when he returned, and since then we have privately adapted the nephelle philosophy with our own armies. To continue, it says, I raised a brow. Azriel shrugged. We, Rhys, Cass, and I, will occasionally remind each other that what we think to be our greatest weakness can sometimes be our biggest strength, and that the most unlikely person can alter the course of history. Sometimes when I look at myself and I think of like my greatest weaknesses and these courses in my life I'm taking, I don't know why they're happening, but this girl like lived forever with these smallest wings, and it was for that moment. If her wings had been 1 inch wider, she would not have made it through and not saved her best friend, the queen herself. Like, how impactful that is, and if she had not been alive, how different history would have been. So I think that's just so cool. Like, put in the back of your mind the nephelle philosophy that what we think may be our worst traits, our greatest weaknesses, whatever it may be, they all have a purpose, and they may save your life someday. They may do something that changes everything. I just thought that was really cool, and honestly something I think about a lot, and I'm using as encouragement a lot right now. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me read A Court of Wings and Ruin. I had a great time, and I feel like this one was very summer edition of me, and I was out in the sun a lot reading, and I was doing a lot of things, so I hope you enjoyed that it was not just kind of like in this house and in my room and stuff, and we actually got out and read out and about in public in the sun. It's about to be summertime, so we are getting in those feels. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys next video. Love you. Mwah. Bye. I feel like we don't have a lot for the spoiler section this time because, again, a lot of the dialogue was just like people fighting. But character-wise, I love Rhys. So hard to say his name. I love Rhys and Feyre. Obviously, you are meant to love them, and the way she like writes it, you are meant to fall in love with them. But oh my gosh, just like the way she gives her independence, the way he makes her shine brighter and feel more confident, and I feel like that is like the epitome of what a man should be doing in your life, or what a significant other should be doing in your life, is making you better, brighter, stronger, and more amazing, and just shining who you are to the world in such a beautiful way. And I think he does that amazingly. I think Lucien, I love when he came back. I mean, I love that he like risked himself, and I wonder where Elaine and him will go. I really want Elaine and Azriel to be together because duh, like the way he's just so gentle with her, and like gave her the truth teller knife when he has never given that knife to anyone. I'm like, oh, please get together, because I feel like Azriel just deserves a happy ever after. Like, he does, and I love him so much. I think he's one of my favorites. Like, just the shadows, and like how like quiet he is at times, but he's always observant, and I feel like he would just be a great guy. Like, he would just be a great guy to date. After all this time, he needs love and he needs happiness, and I really want it to be Elaine. So I really like Lucien, I do. I just think that Elaine and Azriel should be together, and I don't know what to do with Lucien. I think that he should go marry Tamlin. Like, sorry, I said what I said. I feel like they love each other. ride or die, they love each other and they should be together. And so this is my relationship theory that should happen. Tamlin, Lucian together. Azriel, Elaine together. Nesta and Cassian of course have to be together. I feel like they won't because they're both so stubborn, but I think that their banter, oh my gosh, I think it's the best banter in this series because I love when a girl is just sassy. Like, yes, I feel like Feyre did that, but Feyre's also going through a lot. Like, I feel like Nesta just doesn't really show her feelings as much, and maybe it's because we're not getting her perspective. But Cassian is just so, it just reminds me of them, and I feel like they would be so good together. And again, I feel like Cassian just needs to get over more and needs to get over. The trio needs to split. Trio needs to split. And more, I think a new character needs to come in. Maybe Amren, low-key, but obviously that would never work because Amren's like, I don't even know what she is. We still don't even get to know what she is, but I'm glad she's back. I'm glad that she made a return because it was kind of sad to see her go. I feel like she brings just like so much randomness, like one-liners to the little group of people there. So I'm glad she came back. And obviously Rhys and Feyre, oh my gosh, when he died, I didn't know what to do. That was like real big plot twist. I'm glad he came back quickly because I would have not been okay. Tamlin, I feel like is so misunderstood. I think he just has a lot of therapy he needs to go to. He tries so hard to be a good person, but he has just so much trauma, and just not even trauma, because I feel like Rhys has more, but I think it's just like anger issues that he has to deal with. Like, he just has to learn how to control himself and learn better coping mechanisms. Obviously you feel resentment because, I mean, Feyre really just like threw everything under the bus for him. So like, yeah, I would probably be mad too. But for him to like put that aside, one, like save her when she was about to die with the wolves or the weird creatures that Hybern had. He also was like I hope you're happy, and then like gave like his little ounce to like resuscitate Rhys. Like, that man, he has his good traits. He just has a lot to work with. Oh my gosh, their dad this whole time, because he's portrayed as such like a wimp, that he like was like, I'm never gonna be like that again, and then went and found a whole army and then came back and named the boats after them and then died. I wish they had their happy ever after, and I know it's gonna haunt Nesta so badly having to see that. She is gonna go through so much, which is why I don't think her and Cassie will be together for a bit, because I think she's gonna have a hard time going through those emotions, and she's gonna use terrible outlets for it. I just feel like she's gonna go to Cassie and be like, you're too good for me, like I don't deserve you, like go be with someone who deserved you, and like find someone who makes you happy. And he's gonna be like, but you make me happy. So I feel like it might be a while, but when they get together, my heart will be so happy. Next one's like that small book. So I feel like it's not gonna be anything crazy. And then the last book is when everything's gonna, I mean, that book is huge. So I feel like everything's gonna happen. So I hope in that book, Cassie and Nesta get together, because they are all I think about. But those are pretty much my thoughts on that. I feel like it's really just, I kind of just talked about the characters because a lot of like the other stuff wasn't that like important. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Anywho,